Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Frontlines podcast. We are in hot Atlanta at Workday Horizons Atlanta, live, out on the terrace, doing some sun podcasting. Madeline.
Hi, I know this is a lovely setup here. You both look very comfortable on this couch. I feel like I'm awkwardly sitting, but we're just going to go with it.
A pillow behind you.
Yeah,
it's like... yeah. And we have obviously a guest with us, and so go ahead, introduce yourself to everybody. Tell us who you are, Jason.
Yeah, absolutely. Tim, Madeline, thanks for having me. Excited to be here. Glad you guys came to Atlanta. It's my hometown here.
Nice.
So,
yes.
Jason Smith, I am the Director of Talent Acquisition for Carter's. So I help to support all of Carter's across retail, distribution center, and our corporate hiring. But excited to be here.
Nice.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
I shared this before because we recorded with you, Sarah, and Dave. But Carter's is like a very special brand for me because it's literally the memory I have of the very first retail store I'd ever been in.
Yeah.
And
I love that. So it's one of the, I would say from a talent acquisition perspective, it's one of the most exciting things about working at Carter's is everyone has some type of tie to Carter's, right?
Yeah.
Either you grew up wearing the product or you bought it for your kids or your grandkids or whatever it is. So it's normally happy memories. And we've been around, this is our 161st year in business. So we've been able to hit a lot of generations, which we're excited about.
Yeah, talk to us a little bit about, like, obviously you guys are a Workday Paradox client. You did this AI transformation. Talk to us, like, how you got to that point. Like, where are you using? What's been the impact?
Yeah, absolutely. So we implemented Paradox back in 2022, and we actually started in our distribution centers.
Yeah.
So kind of coming out of COVID, right, and just as the job market started to open up, so many applicants had so many opportunities, right? And so for our distribution centers, where in peak season hiring, we might be hiring 200, 300, 400 people at a time, we needed to be able to get to those candidates quicker. And so we started to look for a tool, landed on Paradox, implemented it there first. And what it helped for us to do is to just streamline the process, right? Someone applies, we want to talk to them, boom, we're scheduling an in-person interview for them to come to our distribution center within 24 or 48 hours, right? And being able to kind of turn that around. And then we slowly rolled it out to corporate. So we really implemented it, I would say in full in corporate, probably in like 2023, early 2024. And now we've actually just launched it across our retail stores as well. So we did a pilot for some of our retail stores, about 100 stores or so in fall of 2024. And then that went very well. And now we've released it all to the field. So we're excited to be able to use it across corporate, retail, and distribution centers now.
Awesome.
If you go back to when you did that, because you guys have been doing that now a few years, on the pain point where it was just a matter of like, the operations come and go, look, if we don't have more people, we're SOL for the season. Like you have to get us people.
Yes.
That's really that's.
That was the genesis of it, right? Is really starting with, we have peak season hiring goals that we have to meet, right? As you can imagine, Q4 for us is, I think 30-40% of our business is in Q4 around the holidays. So for us, like if we don't have the employees in the warehouse, in our distribution centers to get the product out, like we're not going to meet plans.
Yeah.
So we had to be able to get to those people. We had to get them quicker. Our largest distribution center is up in kind of north of Atlanta here in Brazelton. There's a lot of other distribution centers around there as well. So we also have a lot of competition.
Yeah.
So we've got to be able to get to these people faster. I mean, transparently, we know we might not be able to compete with an Amazon or some of these others from a pay perspective, but how can we get to them quicker, right? And so that's really where it started back in 2022.
That was the crazy thing. I think Josh Seacrest said this earlier today, where it was like there's like data that shows like once an hourly worker schedules the interview, they stop applying, they're just like, oh no, yeah, cool, I want that one, I'm willing to go. And I go back to, like, I have so many people that will come to me and go like, oh, I don't understand. Like it's usually heads of TA or HR. Like how do we get started in TA? And I'm like, well, where's your pain?
Yeah.
Like once you find the pain, then you can talk them into trying just about anything.
Right.
You're like, if we do headstands all day long, it's going to help. Like, okay, we're all doing headstands. Like they'll do anything if they're in pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2022, this is when this started. Can you talk to us a little bit about what it was like before 2022?
So I joined Carter's in 2022, so I can't speak as highly from it, but I would say we have always had a very decentralized recruiting model just across Carter's in general, right? So the way that our store from a store perspective, our store managers are really responsible, from DMs, store managers, to really driving and owning the hiring there.
Yep.
Our distribution center, we have kind of a recruiting team based there in our DCs that were managing it. And then corporate was transparently done a lot by like really agency recruiters, things like that. So really, in general, there was a decision made, which is really kind of why I was hired, right? That we wanted to build an internal talent acquisition team for Carter's, right? We're large enough. We have 12, 13,000 global employees. How do we kind of start to centralize some of this from the way that we're operating, from some of the tools that we're using, things like that? So we implemented Paradox, started in the distribution center. We also implemented Workday in 2022 as well.
So it started with the process, and then the technology is unheard of.
Yeah. Wait, what? That's how that works?
That doesn't usually happen. That's amazing. And you've talked a little bit about impact that you've seen since using Workday Paradox, and you talk a lot about efficiency and time savings. Is there anything else that's really come up to you, even if it's more of kind of quality metrics?
Yeah, so I think that's kind of like the next chapter that we're looking at, is really how are we kind of tracking some of our quality to hire, right? As far as, it's great that we can hire people quickly, but what's the retention? Where are they also, like, where are they coming from? How are they applying to us? Is it Indeed? Is it our career site? Is it LinkedIn? Like, how are they finding our jobs? And then what does kind of that retention look like? So it's something we're starting to lean into a little bit more, and really starting to try to peel the onion back a little bit to see like where are our best candidates coming from, and then also kind of what's keeping them here.
Yeah.
Jason, when you think about, like, you have all this AI stuff that's come up in the last 24 months, large language models, agentic, you guys started your AI journey before that.
Yeah.
Has that made it easier then for your company to kind of like transition into this AI world, because you're like, oh, we've been doing AI already?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think just in general at Carter's, like, it does feel like from a TA perspective, we've kind of been at the forefront of some of the AI and automation tools. And so I do think that we have kind of that case study there already of saying, hey, we've been doing this since 2022, right? So even with all the new tools that are coming out and everything, I think we're proud to say from a TA perspective, we've already been doing a lot of this. Now, there's a lot of exciting stuff that's constantly coming out, right? But I always feel good about the fact that we've been at the forefront of some of this. Now, I always want to make a point to say that the human element is still a part of it, right? There's so much talk on social media and just out in the market about, AI is rejecting my application. I want to be clear, from the way that we utilize AI, at least at Carter's, no AI tool is ever making a hiring decision. Meaning you are never being dispositioned by a tool, right? Like it's not, no matter what you answer on your availability or things like that, someone is still looking at it and then ultimately making the decision. So I always try to separate that, because there is a big misconception out there.
Well, no, it's a giant misconception, not only with mass media and candidates. Like if you were to ask 100 candidates if they think they've gotten dispositioned by AI, it's like upwards of 85%.
They all think
they do.
Right.
And in reality, if you actually went through every single apply they had, it would be more like 2 or 3% might have. Not even then, right? It's still, AI might have like ranked them, and then somebody, a human actually said, fine, we don't want these. Like, it's shocking to me that, like, how people don't understand what's really how the sausage is made, basically.
Well, the media loves the story too. Like, so many articles have been written.
The
like,
robots are controlling the world.
Nobody's making a decision. You can be hired in 24 seconds. And this is all. And it's like, no, that's not how it works.
Well, one example that I love to give. So part of my role too is managing our college hiring programs, right? So in 2024, or actually, I guess now our 2025 class now, we had 20,000 applicants, and we hired 70 people out of 20,000 applicants. So I always tell people, I'm like, it's impossible, no matter how many resources or recruiters we have, right? Like, we have to utilize tools to help us get to the candidates quicker, because no recruiter has time to go through that many applicants. So that's kind of what the job market is. And I think it's, it extends to that frontline recruiter, right? And those high volume spaces. So that's just kind of what it is. And so, yes, we utilize AI and automation to help us find people better, but ultimately, or quicker, I should say. But ultimately, they're not making the hiring decision.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things where we go, like, it's a reality of TA for those of us who worked as practitioners. In that is, like, if I have 20,000 applicants and I have this many people, most of those applicants are never going to get looked at.
No.
If I layer in some AI, I can get 100% of them being looked at, giving them a chance.
Yes.
And then some of the people that maybe are the best candidates that never would have, they were unlucky. That was it.
That's
that was a strategy for TA for decades. It's like lucky, unlucky. You're
Yeah.
like,
Right.
that's not, like, how are we thinking
Right.
that's better than AI?
Right.
And then we have people in our industry, though, that will argue that AI is the death of TA. And you're
Yeah.
like, no, maybe for the first time, there's a fair shot for everybody.
Yeah,
You know?
they're coming around a little bit, but it's still surprising.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the college recruiting for a minute. I
Yeah.
love that this is a focus for you because it's changed so much.
Yeah.
Like, I'm curious if you're seeing it shifting back. Like, I know it was all like in person. You'd have to really make sure that you're attending these career fairs in person, the brand, like going up and grabbing a student, giving
Yep.
them a hug, pulling them in, talking to them.
Yeah.
And then it's all shifted since COVID, and you had to do more brand
Sure.
and focus on like small, you know, getting at the
a lot of virtual
grassroots
events, things
and
like that.
virtual events. Where are we at now? Like, where is it shifting back?
It is shifting back.
Yeah.
I think to the in-person is becoming more important than ever. I was fortunate enough to be at the NRF event in New York
Yep.
at the beginning of the year and part of the executive program and kind of mentorship. And one of the things I was telling the students, and there's so many students there, they're like really, to me, I was like, wow, I don't think I was this smart and kind of on top of it at that age, but they're really impressive. And what I was telling them is I'm like, this is how you get noticed, though, by going to some of these events in person, right? Going back to that 20,000 number, 70 people get hired. A lot of those people that we hired, we had met in person
You met.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
At an
relationship.
event,
Yes.
they had come, they
Yeah.
had shook our hand, they came
Yeah.
to our table, we met them, they made a connection. So then when that resume came through, oh, I recognize that name.
Yeah.
I remember this person. They were impressive. So it is starting to go back. I think it's more of a benefit, honestly, to the candidate and to the student to have those in-person events if they take advantage of them.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I think that's when you go extend on that, because I think when we think about using AI automation to, like, you obviously can reduce the total number of teammates, but what we want to say is, like, where does the human layer in? So when you guys think about that, where do you want your team to spend more time with the actual candidate, and what does that look like as you add in? So you're gaining capacity, but at the same time now you have more time. What does that turn into?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the way that we've kind of thought about it at Carter's is we want to kind of design our process and say, okay, what are the points that we want that human interaction?
Yeah.
And then how can we just automate everything else,
Oh, yeah.
basically,
Right.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what we've done is, candidate scheduling, interview scheduling, all that can all be automated. That's so
Absolutely.
easy. That's such a manual task
Yeah.
for a recruiter. Take that off their plate, right? What I want our recruiting team to be able to focus on is spending more time with the candidate, really screening, understanding what are their drivers, what are they looking for, what's going to ultimately keep them at Carter's, all that type of stuff. And then how are we kind of really then managing them through the process? Also, I want us to get closer to the business, right? So we always talk about becoming less of recruiters and more as talent advisors from a TA perspective. And so that's one thing too, right? If my recruiter is spending less time having to screen resumes and manually schedule interviews and all that type of stuff, they can spend more time interacting with the business and being a true business partner to understand what are our goals, what are we, what are we kind of ultimately
Keeps
going
falling
for?
down.
Sorry.
The heat is
My-
getting
yeah.
us. The hot
The
I
heat
know.
is
It's,
melting our
well, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's fine.
I think that ultimately that's where it allows kind of more time is really for the ability to become more of that true business partner and spend
Yeah.
more time with the candidate and understand the drivers from both sides.
Yeah.
I do think that's
We-
critical. Like, we were talking with Sarah Valvoline, and like she was talking about how they've kind of got this process down where the recruiters have such a strong relationship with their hiring managers. The hiring managers ultimately are making the decision, but they're not actually interviewing.
Yeah.
They've gotten to the point where, and I'm like, that's really rare. And because
Yes.
like, you have to have both that hiring manager and recruiter have to be so lock and sync together
Yep.
to
Yeah.
get that to happen. But ultimately, that's the time that's better, like, value added.
Yeah.
Right? I don't need my hiring manager spending half their week or 25% of their week interviewing when somebody else can do that. Right?
Yeah.
And the delays, I mean, that come along with that. It's way too time consuming. So when you think about, like, you've talked a little bit about the candidate, right? Like, you're hiring maybe differently than other frontline hiring is
Yeah.
happening, where there's sometimes an expectation. We only want somebody for a couple months. Sometimes it's seasonal. Sometimes it's just that's fine if this is a launch pad for them
That's
to go
right.
somewhere else. When you think about candidates' expectations around AI, like, you're embracing it, you're figuring out where the human steps in or where humans are making decisions.
Yeah.
How are candidates' expectations changing, and are you collecting candidate feedback on how AI is being used in the process?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think for us, what we have tried to do is we want to walk that fine balance, right? one of the things that honestly separates us at Carter's is our culture and our people, right? It's one of our biggest selling points, the fact that we have been around for 161 years and that we have this great brand and heritage to our company. So we want to keep that. We also want to move quickly. We also recognize that candidates want to move quickly as well. So I think what we've heard from candidates is they love the ability to schedule using Paradox Alicia, right? Texting, I can do it all on my phone. I can chat to apply, everything. Perfect. They do want to talk to someone at some point, whether it's a recruiter, a hiring leader. They want to have some type of face-to-face or video call or whatever it might be to really understand that, because that's important to them. So one of the things we've talked about is for our store associates, our retail associate, right, which is about 75% part-time employees, we've thought about, do they need to talk to anyone? Could we just do all video interviewing, like just pre-recorded virtual interviews? Do they have to talk to anyone? And we've not gone down that path yet, because I think what we've decided and what we've heard really from our candidates is they do want to talk to someone. Even if they're only planning to work 15, 20 hours.
None of us would accept a job if we didn't talk to somebody in real. And you're thinking, well, it's just an hourly job. But like, no, to them, that could be their career. That could be whatever. Like, it's still important to know that, hey, is this real? And once they know it's real, then they're like, okay, now automate it, right?
Yes,
now
absolutely.
Now I only want to communicate with you by text message.
Onboarding, all that stuff, make it as easy as possible. But there is still that value in the human interaction.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how like the younger generations, like Gen Alpha, I've got an Alpha, will expect this to be, if they're fine with the no communication.
Now, what are you... I know you have a couple sons, right?
I have two boys.
Two boys. Okay, how old are they?
16 and 13.
Okay, so the 16-year-old, like, what is his expectation for the AI piece as he's maybe thinking about getting into the workforce?
So right now, they're taught at school AI is bad because they're not allowed to use it for anything, which is absurd to me because...
the workforce is going to require them to use it.
It's going to require them to use it, and it's better if they know it. I mean, he takes business classes, so they use it there. But there's this feeling of like, it's bad. And I think he's thinking more fear factor on his side. Can I use it? Like, what would an interview be like? Am I allowed to prep using ChatGPT? Am I allowed to answer questions using it? More concerned with, is he doing something wrong? Because they've been scolded so much at school. So I think that's the fear factor. But Tim and I have talked about this. The issue right now with, like, he wants a summer job, an hourly job. And it's very hard for 16-year-olds in our area to get jobs. They go typically to college students coming home or seniors graduating. And it's, unless he's going to like volunteer at a summer camp, he's not getting an hourly job.
It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, you never think like that's, usually there's always somebody begging for it, right? Yeah. And there probably is. It just depends on, like, again, how dirty do you want to get or whatever. Like, kids get picky too. But it's an amazing kind of thing.
The use of, sorry, I was going to add just real quick. I think the use of AI in interviews it's a really interesting kind of paradox there, right? Of like, what is the appropriate amount? And I know I've been fortunate enough to be around some of the other TA leaders in the retail space, and we're all kind of talking about, should it be prohibited? Should it be allowed? Because technically, if you get hired, you can utilize AI. And in fact, you're going to be encouraged to use AI.
Absolutely.
So why could or why should we tell you can't use it in your interview? So it's kind of, it's a delicate balance. I understand too, though, of not wanting to hire someone that's just, they've utilized AI for their entire interview process. So it's still kind of a fine line that I think every employer is trying to walk through of, what's the appropriate amount, knowing that when they join, we're actually going to encourage them to utilize the tool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like my thing is, like, it's the big F, little f fraud thing. Right? Like, to me, the little f fraud, I'm not saying it's not important, because I don't want to hire someone who's willingly lying about like their background or something. But if they say, oh, I'm going to like suck up my resume to GPT and have it say, hey, match my resume and my background and qualifications as good as I can to me, to the job. So I'm not lying, but it's trying to enhance it to to be as good. I'm not going to say, hey, put me down as a job I've never done. Like, I'm not doing that. I think at any point you would go, that's fine. And like anything, if we found somebody lying on a job application or lying or whatever, you're probably going to go, yeah, I don't want that person, right?
Exactly.
But do I care that they used an AI enhanced resume? There's a difference, right?
I know. And I think about it a lot. I actually think about this topic quite a bit on the interview side too, because I think if somebody does not interview well, it doesn't mean they're not going to be great at their job.
That's right.
It just means they don't interview well. And why can't you have a note taker or an assistant to help you? Don't forget about this.
Yeah.
Don't, like I tell people.
It's an individual contributor job. All they're going to do is sit behind a tube all day.
And just remember you did this program at NASA in college, and that might be good to remind the interviewer of that program. And that, I don't see that as being negative.
No.
I think taking notes on a piece of paper can also remind you.
Yeah.
But people don't want you to lie and make up something.
No, I get the lying thing is where I cut that off, right? I don't want anyone to lie, but they're using AI to better market themselves because they're not good at that, or to set themselves up for answering a good interview question because they prepared well by practicing.
Right.
Like, good. Awesome. I want that. I want someone who's prepared and willing to use the tools at their disposal.
Right.
Don't lie to me. Be prepared. Yeah.
Well, and one of the things like we say, like even internally is, like AI should never be your final product, right? Like even like from a work perspective. So what we always utilize it as like a starting point. So wouldn't I want my candidates to have the same approach of like, to your point, Tim, you don't want them lying about their experience, but if they're utilizing and say, hey, help me summarize my experience, help me to, kind of be able to answer these questions. To me, that's actually just being really well prepared and utilizing the technology that's available to you.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of workers, or do you hire English as a second language in certain areas? Because I think it also plays in, like I've had a couple Uber rides lately where there's a translator in the Uber so we can communicate back and forth.
Oh, that's
But I think even, which was an AI tool being used on their phone. And I think if you think about that, I mean, I know a lot of big employers are hiring people who are English as a second language. And why not have that tool or assistant to help, even sometimes when they might be speaking their primary language in the work environment?
Yeah, so it's interesting. We definitely hire, we have several stores in Quebec, right? So French Canadian being really the primary language there. We have obviously stores in like Miami or South Florida or some other areas that are maybe a heavy Hispanic population as well, right? Where you do get more Spanish speakers. So what we're really utilizing is Paradox, like to really help us like from an applicant perspective of all that chat to apply, being available in every language, being able to get to the process a little bit easier, answer those questions, et cetera. So it's something that I think is definitely on the rise. And we've kind of started from an applicant side of making sure that they have the ease to be able to apply and get in and have the same opportunity as everyone else.
Remind me the name of your bot. What is it?
Alicia.
Alicia. So Alicia, I mean, what a great experience.
Right.
Yeah.
If, you're kind of communicating with Alicia and she's speaking to you in Spanish.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been super helpful for us there. We're trying to see, as because we do have offices in Asia, so in Hong Kong and things like that, right? Like what's kind of that next iteration look like for her? But for now, English, French Canadian, and Spanish.
Well, Jason, thank you so much for sharing the story. Appreciate that. How can people find you?
Check me on LinkedIn. There are a lot of Jason Smiths, so I always recommend. I would type in Jason Smith Carters on LinkedIn. You can find me there. Always happy to connect and share any insights and just kind of share more about what we're doing at Carters. And then also always love to hear what other companies are doing, right? There's so much value in these type of conversations because no one's got the silver bullet, right? Everyone, we're all trying to figure it out together.
That's awesome. All right. Hey, everybody. That's another episode for Madeline Laurano. I'm Tim Sackett. Check out more stories on other episodes with the great leaders like Jason. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys.
Frontlines.